My name is Maximus Idiots, and this is my campground chariot. Hey, welcome back, friends. So I hope you enjoyed that. I wasn't sure whether or not to call that guy Maximus Idiots or Gluteus Maximus. I don't really think it matters. He's an idiot anyway, we know that. But anyway, today I'm here to talk to you about the Varla Eagle 1 scooter. And when Varla reached out to me to test this thing, I've never even heard of them before. So I went straight to YouTube, of course, and I did some research, and I found out that these things are generally pretty darn cool. And I said, absolutely, send me one over. I would love to test this thing out. I'm so glad I did. This not all been roses though. We've had a couple of issues with it. I've had it now a little over 50 miles. I've rode it a little over 50 miles now. And yeah, we're gonna talk about that today. We're gonna talk about its features, its pros and cons, a couple of issues we've had, and then I'll take you on a ride and talk about its performance some. I hope you'll stick around. All right, let's talk a little bit about what you get before we get into its features. This is what comes with the Varla. Obviously, you have the scooter itself. Now, this is an aftermarket thing I purchased off of Amazon. I'll try to remember to link that in the description box below if you're interested in that. But yeah, it comes with the scooter, of course. Now, as you can see in the B-roll, this is folded down into here. It's very easy and compact to fold down. That's one of the pros I like about it. We'll talk about that in just a second. But that's how it comes in the box. And then you get a couple of different options for your grip tape. This is the one here that it came with. I took that one off. That's not as much my style. And I went with the black and white American flag, as you can see there. But you got a couple of other styles here, like an Apache helicopter. And yeah, you can see what's going on there. It comes with an extra inner tube, which makes me think they go through inner tubes a good bit, but I haven't had that issue yet in 50 miles. But yeah, it does come with that. A couple stickers and a charger. Now, one of the things you can see here is there is actually 2 charge ports. So you can pick up, if you choose, you can pick up another charger and you'll get a lot faster charging time. But yeah, that's just what comes in the box when it's delivered to your house. All right, let's start with the features, and I'll do that by starting with my favorite part of this scooter, and that is its suspension. So you can see you've got arms here, independent arms here, with a nice heavy spring that you can adjust. You got a little nut right there. You can adjust that for firmer or softer ride. Same thing back here in the bag. That's one of my favorite features. It's considered an all-terrain scooter, and I have had it off-road. I have had it on the trail, and it does pretty good. You know, it's got smaller tires, so we can't get over as big of rocks and roots maybe as some bikes. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, it does fairly well. You also got some disc brakes here. These are heavy-duty disc brakes. I've had some issues with the brakes. We'll talk about that in just a moment as well. But you can see your calipers here. They sell brake pads on the site, so you can replace those. But those are nice hydraulic brakes. It's my understanding in the scooter world that's an upgrade over mechanical brakes, and that makes sense. Here you can see the folding handlebar. You basically pop these out and this entire unit here folds down. Don't get excited, that's just our babysitter. All right, so yeah, this entire unit here folds down into here, and then the fact that it can pack up well is one of the pros we'll talk about later. Here is your headlights here. They're okay. They do fairly well if you're just scooting around in a slower pace. But if you're doing some high-speed stuff or on a trail, I definitely want something a good bit brighter. Nice big foot deck. You know, I'm only a size 11, but I have fat feet, and this is plenty big enough for my feet. No doubt about that. Obviously the battery is this entire thing, I believe, is the battery. I haven't taken that out, don't want to mess with that. But yeah, 2 charge ports. So if you got one that comes standard, and then you have, if you wanted another one, you would have that option as well. All right, you got much of the same setup back here as I mentioned before. Just get you back a little bit. I'm kind of sitting down doing this video for you guys to get a close up. But yeah, you got disc brakes again, calipers. Had issues with this brake here. Again, we'll talk about that in just a second. But again, independent suspension. Let's move you up top. You can see the big, oh, I don't want to forget, kickstand. Super handy with there. All right, up here at the business end of things, you've got nice grips here. I've really enjoyed these grips. They fit my hand well, and these would be considered slightly upgraded grips, I think, in the scooter world, according to my research. So yeah, I like those. You got your brakes here. That's my rear brake, and my front brakes over here. Eco and turbo mode, those make a huge difference, let me tell you right now. Now obviously turbo, you're going to sacrifice a great deal of range, but man, you get up and fly with this thing. And then single motor or dual motor, same thing. Dual motor has more torque. Single motor is more concerned with your range and economy. Those are peppers. I got habanero, and ghost pepper. I believe that's right. We'll find out in about 2 months. Anyway, again, this is aftermarket here, so don't expect that to come with the scooter. That's something I bought from Amazon. Here's your ignition here, so put the key in, pop it on. It's going to let you know what's going on with your battery here. And then you have to also turn this on, hold that down. It pops on. It's in first gear. As you can see, I've got 62 miles on it. There's my battery life there. You can go from miles per hour to kilometers per hour. Of course, there you can reset your entire trip. You can go through, there's several different things you can do with this unit. But yeah, that's what that is. And then here's the accelerator. So it's ready to rock right now. Again, brakes on this side, that is your front brake. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. You just hop on it and start going like you would if you were 12 years old back in the day with the kick scooter. All right, guys, I took a nice little ride on this thing when we were in the mountains this past weekend, and I'm just going to voice over that footage and talk about its pros and cons and its performance. I hope you'll enjoy the ride.
All right, friends, let me start by saying we are riding in the Chestatee WMA up in the North Georgia mountains. I'll try to remember to link a description or link that ride or that area in the description box below. Let's jump into the pros and cons of the Varla Eagle One. So first pro that I noticed from the get-go was how easy it is to transport. So once you fold those handlebars down, yeah, it's fairly easy. Those small tires are not awkward. It's not difficult to deal with like some bikes might be. And yeah, it's easy to get into pass-through storage or the bed of your truck. A little bit heavy. We'll talk about that in just a second. But easy to transport. That's definitely a pro here. The height of the ride is another pro. I like standing up. I think it's unique. You're a little higher than most bikes, and I like that. I think that it just has a better view. You feel more in control, and I like the height of the ride. Third pro is its performance. Now, we'll talk about my personal experience with its performance here in just a second. But yeah, the range is 40 miles on eco mode with single motor, and then the speed is 40 miles an hour if you throw on the turbos and put both motors to work. And of course, you'll sacrifice one for the other, as always with all these electric vehicles. But yeah, the performance is definitely a pro. It's also unique, and that's another pro about this Varla Eagle One is, yeah, it may even get maybe too much attention at the campground, but it is unique, and I like that. It's not just your average bike or something like that. It's fun to ride around. It also has nice components. That's another pro. The suspension is just it's beast mode. It's really nice. It's thick. A lot of thick bolts, nuts, bolts, heavy duty components, which for a 330-pound capacity, that's a good thing. I'm 235 pounds, so I appreciate some beef down below in the suspension. It's all terrain. I again, speaking of the suspension, I like the fact that you can take it off road, you can take it over grass, you can take it over dirt roads, all of that fun stuff. And yeah, that makes it that much more enjoyable, especially if you're using it camping, right? And then there's also a seat available, so I thought that'd be a pro for a lot of folks that may find this awkward to ride. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, that's kind of a rundown of the pros of this unit. Let's talk about the cons a little bit. The smaller wheels that make it easier to transport, well, that also means that it's tougher in terrain. So small wheels don't do as well over rocks and roots and stuff like that. And as much as I like it when I'm packing it up, I also wish that, you can't have your cake and eat it too. So Also wish the wheels were a little bit bigger so it could handle more rocks and roots. But from what I experienced, it did pretty well on trails. It just wouldn't do anything super serious. A second con with this unit would be some may find it difficult to ride, and they may find it intimidating. It's a scooter. It's not a bike. And most people are comfortable with bikes, but like I said, most people haven't ridden a scooter since they were a kid, myself included. When I got it out of the box and I first stood on it and rode it a little bit, it was a little bit intimidating, but you get used to it really quick. It's not that big a deal. Price is another con. $16.99. You can get some really nice e-bikes for that, and considering some e-bikes are like $1,000, some people may think twice at that price. I think you get what you pay for, but of course that's subjective. But yeah, price may have some hesitate some a little bit. Another con, fourth con, is it's heavy. It's 77 pounds. It's not awkward. That's the thing. So some things are lighter weight, but they're awkward and they're harder to move around. This one's heavier, but it's not awkward. So I don't ever feel like it's a problem. But I'm a bigger guy, and I've go to the weight room a little bit, so I can handle it fine. But some people will find it a little bit too heavy to move around with ease. And then also, kind of on that note, is because of its design, you can't really use it in a bike rack. Most bike racks, you put the wheels in the frame of the rack, or you attach the bike to the bike rack in some fashion. But you couldn't really do that with this unit, so you'd have to put it in the pass-through or the bed of your truck. But yeah, that's kind of a rundown of the pros and cons. Let's jump into its performance. I'll start with its stated performance and what it says it'll do. And yeah, it says it'll hold 330 pounds. It says it'll go 40 miles an hour, and it also says it has a 40-mile range. So we'll start with the weight limit. Yeah, 330 pounds seems very realistic for this unit. I'm 235 pounds, and it didn't have any problem handling me. I wasn't sagging. The springs weren't compressed. I mean, yeah, it was just fine. It had plenty of travel in the suspension. I don't know why it wouldn't hold 335 pounds, 330 pounds, I believe it is. So yeah, I think they're dead on there. Does it go 40 miles an hour? Yes, it does go 40 miles an hour, and I'm kind of an idiot. I took it up to 38 miles an hour, and with my weight, that's pretty good. My brother-in-law, he took it up to 40. He weighs a good bit less than I do. So yeah, it'll absolutely do 40 miles an hour with an average-sized person. I think I'm probably a little bit bigger than average-sized person. So yeah, I got 38 out of it. But yeah, he got 40, and yeah, it'll haul. It will absolutely haul. You'll get there in no time. It's got 3 different gears, and the performance of this thing is crazy. When you first step on it and you hit it in turbo mode with both motors going, it shoots off like a rocket ship. It's crazy. That's the most fun. That's the most fun aspect of this unit for sure. But it's probably gonna get me in trouble. I gotta get me a good helmet. Yes, I'm an idiot. I haven't been riding it with a helmet yet. I've got to change that. But yeah, so secondly, it says it has, or thirdly, I should say, it says it has a 40-mile range. I would be somebody my size. Again, we'll go into that. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't haul a bunch of weight and get great range. There's no way this thing would haul me 40 miles. Would it haul Brooke 40 miles? Yeah, maybe in single motor eco mode, it might haul Brooke 40 miles. She's 100 pounds less than I am, maybe a little more than 100 pounds less. And so I think it would haul her 40 miles, but there's no way it would ever get me 40 miles, especially in any type of, hilly terrain, foothills, and definitely not in the mountains. I mean, I think everyone realizes when you're in the mountains, you're going to take a beating on your range in any electric vehicle, e-bikes included. But yeah, I don't think there's any way it would do that. When I'm in turbo with both motors, like the go fast mode, I think 15 to 20 miles is realistic for me, and being 235 pounds. I think that'd be realistic range for it. I've had it down to 2 bars. I think it has 5 bars on the battery. I've had it down to 2 bars, and I think we were at 14, 15 miles at that point. And that was playing around with it, gunning it, goosing it, having a good time with it. So yeah, I think that would be more of a realistic range when you're goofing off and playing. If you really wanted to hypermile it, I think somebody 150, 160 pounds could probably get 40 miles of it. But the way most people are going to play with this thing, I think 20, 25 is more realistic. Okay, finally, I want to go, that's kind of a recap of the performance. And finally, I want to go over the couple of issues that we've had with this unit. You can see that left brake right there. That is my rear brake, and I really need to bleed that brake. It's got to the point where it barely works. that's common maintenance for any of these hydraulic brakes, whether it's on scooters or bikes. I just didn't expect it to happen already. So yeah, it's to the point where it barely works now, and I got to get some mineral oil and get in there and bleed that brake system, just my rear brakes. Now, on the flip side, my front brakes are starting to make some noise. So, a lot of brake pads have indicators that will start to squeak before you use up too much of your brake pad and start to damage your rotor. I don't know if that's what's going on or not. I reached out to Varla, and they told me to make sure that the caliper was not the caliper, but the rotor was not warped. It's not warped. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just squeaky, and so I'll have to get in there and adjust that. So the braking system, even though it's an upgrade being hydraulic brakes, it seems to be a little fussy with mine. 60 miles in, and I'm having to do some pretty significant maintenance on it. Overall, I'm not upset with that. It is what it is. I think that's part of this game, even with e-bikes as well. So we'll enjoy it. But yeah, I thought this was a great scooter, and I hope you guys enjoyed.